Okay, so a very warm welcome to everyone to today's session. And we do this every Saturday. Every Saturday at 8 o'clock, we meet, and many times we don't have a topic. We just chat about the challenges that we may be facing, and anything that we want to talk about, reflect upon. And many a times we have a topic, a theme on around which our discussion kind of goes on. So today I thought we can maybe share our present reflections and understanding on desires. We all have desires. We all go through desires. Desires also have a purpose, but many a times we see that desires also make us suffer. Yeah, we go through a lot of suffering when we are going through a desire, wanting the desire to be fulfilled, and also to reflect upon what happens when a desire gets fulfilled. How long does the satisfaction stay? Does it lead me to a lasting fulfillment? In what way it helps me progress on the path of life? So if we could share one by one, we can unmute ourselves. If you are comfortable, you can put your video on. If not, that's also okay. So if one by one, we could just share our present, whatever comes to your mind whenever you think of desires, especially in context with your personal experiences. That would be very enriching if we can share our own personal experiences, going through desires, having a desire fulfilled, any reflections on desires. Yeah, and then we can go through and maybe find a deeper clarity. Also, I would like to involve Mother and Sri Aurobindo's words here. So we would be taking a bit of direction from what they have to say about desires and how can we deal with them or understand them better. Okay, so yeah, so it's our meeting and it's our session. We are just, whenever you feel free, you unmute and share. If some of us are not comfortable unmuting, we can also put our doubts and question in the chat window. So it cannot be that none of us have experienced desire. Yeah. And desire for approval, desire for validation, desire for respect, desire for name, desire for fame, desire for wanting to be somebody in somebody's eyes, desire for, I don't know, so many desires. Our life is full of desires of certain sorts. So take those as examples. And I'm sure it's not possible that at this stage, we don't have any experience with desires. Yeah. And we are not wanting to go one way or the other. At the moment, we are just sharing our reflections on or present understanding on desire. So what happened once you noticed a desire in you and then you ran after fulfilling it, and what really went through that experience, what really happened, what was your learning through that experience. So if one by one could share, it would be nice and interactive if one can yeah, share personal reflections, and then we can take it forward. Yeah, anyone? Abhishek, Adhar, Mohita, Shweta, Snehi, Archita, Rajaji, Muto, E4, anyone who feels even a bit inclined to share their own personal experience with desires.
I think when it comes to desires, it's almost like dominoes. You know, it's like one thing leads to another, and before you can even make sense of it, you find yourself getting swamped by so many things at the same time. But it's also necessary to realize that, you know, all of them are in a way like mythical, because once you you know, like one, if one of your desires are fulfilled, then it suddenly hits you that there's something more, there's something more. It's almost like, you know, Trishna or Oasis, as if we see it on a highway. So personally speaking, this happened to me like as an engineer. Like after I wanted to like get into like post graduation, and I thought that's the means to an end. I mean, that's the only thing. And once I got an admission in Xavier's, I was like, oh my god, this is not something that is that was so much that was worth so much hype. I mean, why did I drive myself crazy for it? I mean, it would have been. So yeah, I mean, so desires are so mythical. I mean, they can just push you inside such a devastating storm that before you realize it, it's like, so that I think it's very necessary to be mindful about what you're desiring. And in pop culture, they always say that, you know, be careful about what you wish for. So it's like it's that. I mean, for me, it's just that.
Yes, yes, yeah. Do we also see a purpose to desire? क्योंकि अगर desire exist कर रही है, उसको उसका कुछ ना कुछ purpose होगा. There must be a purpose to desire. So do you also see that any purpose to desire?
Ma'am, I also, I mean, according to me, like personally, whenever I've had desires for, like, say, become more successful, have like XYZ amount in the bank, or, you know, like have those, all those checklists that, I mean, fulfilled. What happens is that they make you realize that as much as you desire, nothing is going to make you feel fulfilled. I mean, fulfillment and desires are just not kind of, you know, correlated. I mean, just not. So the more you desire, the more you run after it, and you're losing the bigger picture in that process. So that's what I have understood in my limited understanding. I could be completely wrong, but
Yeah, no,
that's the
no.
reason
Yes,
I
yes.
feel that it's good to entertain desires, understand them, what are they, just smile at them and let them go. Because end of the day, it's like what I mean, if you are supposed to achieve something, or if something is scripted, it will come your way. So it doesn't make sense to drive yourself crazy and, you know, while chasing them.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Mohita. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Hi, Monica. Am I
Ye-
audible?
Yes, yes, Abhishek. Yeah.
Yeah, let me know if the sound quality is not good. So, one thing I would really like to understand, if someone can share their opinion, is the relation between desires and the social aspect. So, what I mean here is, I genuinely feel that there are times when we are taught that you should desire something by the people around us. I Because the way I have been and my temperament is I'm kind of passive by nature. So as I've been observing myself and my desires, I have noticed that there are a lot of things that I was taught by my friends or people around, maybe the, you know, basically all of the social aspects, other human beings. So it's like, people tell you what you should be desiring, or they tell you that, you know, aap ye ban jao, or you become this person, or you achieve this thing, then they'll give you the respect and the love. And what I feel is, we really want to be included in the group, or we want people to speak nicely to us, to give us respect. And in that journey of wanting to bond with other people, we end up chasing these so-called desires. What I have in mind is like materialistic desires, at least, and hoping that once I get these objects, I can in turn show them to people, and they give me these things that I want. So one thing I would like to explore, you guys know your opinion on this, is the materialistic desires that we have, right? The phones, the houses, the watches, the expensive bags. Like, if you think about it, there is going to be a bag which is priced price is 10,000 and maybe it will give you nice utility, right? And there are bags that are worth 1 lakh also. So why would you purchase a bag worth 1 lakh if the value or the utility is not increasing 10 times? Maybe it's just marginally increasing. So what drives us to desire for something expensive? Is it just to show it to other people and in that process garner respect from them? So this aspect of desire I really am curious about, is how much of it comes very deeply from you, from your core, versus how much you derive your desires by other people, directly or indirectly, telling you or showing it to you. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Abhishek. Yes, I think we'll touch upon it. What you have shared, we'll be able to touch upon it. It's quite an important aspect. Yeah, and many things coming from what you just shared. Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else? Their present perspective on desires, if they have been through desires, go through desires, uh, anything that you want to share about it. And also, if someone wants to reflect upon the purpose of the desire. So since desire is something which is real, it exists in creation, what must be the purpose of desire? What does desire make me do? बिना बात के तो होगी नहीं, है ना?
Yeah,
तो purpose होगा. Yeah.
can we briefly touch on what are the types of desires? I think this will help get a better idea of what we are.
ठीक है, ठीक है. Yeah, Aadhar, please. Yeah. Aadhar, you want to share something? No, your voice is really not really audible, really. Although I can hear something, but it's not audible.
Let me fix the mic.
Yeah, maybe it's a lot of echo that I can hear.
Fix the mic.
Yeah. Anand, abhi mere se, please. Yeah, anyone who wants to share? I think Aadhar wanted to share. Maybe he's fixing up his mic. Our present understanding on desires.
I would like to share, ma'am.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to desires, like desires are many. We never give full stop to it. We don't give it a thought. If we want, if we have a house, we want villa. If we have a bike, we want BMW car. But when we focus or concentrate, or when we realize that is it really a necessity? When we get it, it just gives that 2 to 3 minutes of pleasure. Then over. Then again, new desire comes out in our mind, in our heart. So there are many desires. But when we realize what is necessary and what is not, that makes a big impact. For example, sometimes it happens that something if we get, when it does not coincide with the desire which we have in our mind, but we get something else in place of that, we never get satisfied, even though that is helpful to us. For example, if a child is expecting a gift from their parents or from friend or whoever, gift like a video game or remote control car, but in present he got a book to read. If he get disappointed, it brings disappointment, it brings sadness. Even when we see, even though the book is very valuable, it helps him in future aspect, but still he's not happy with that. So we need to differentiate whether it is helpful to us or not. We just need not to go with the desire and what we create in our mind. And yeah, when desires are unlimited, one after the other, and we never give full stop to it. And sometimes we have to give a thought to it, that we have to realize that desires are many, resources are very less. And first, we should deserve and then desire. We think we deserve that, but we never do anything to get that. So we should be first deserving candidate to get that. And also, like, इंसान मर जाता है लेकिन उसकी इच्छाएं कभी नहीं मरती. इच्छाओं का वजन अक्सर ज्यादा ही होता है. So yeah.
Yes, beautiful. Yeah, anyone else who wants to share any present understanding and reflections on desire? Adhar, do you want to share now?
Yeah.
Now it's audible. It's
Okay.
audible.
So you were saying this, right? What is the purpose of desire? And so what I think is desire comes out of a sense of when we think, it may sound obvious, but when we consider something as important, right, somehow internally that this thing is important, that kind of gives rise to desire, right? It's not that it's necessarily bad, right? Desire is not bad. We may give importance to certain things that it's important to give importance, but we don't stop to reflect, right? Like Jana was saying that a child desires many things, but if he does not get it, it's like the end of the world, right? But for a child, the child does not go and does not really reflect, right? Why is it important for them? But means this is something, right? This is something important to reflect why we think something is important for us, and that it by itself may solve this thing, right? Whether that desire is worth having or not. That's my thought.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, anyone else? Snehi or Ashpriya, if you are wanting to share right now, or Rajaji, if you want to share Moto E4. We can also come up later. If you don't have any reflections now, you can share later too. Yeah. Yes, Abhishek. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like us to include this one point also, which is desire versus ego. So what I think is, when, let's just say, I'm desiring a particular car which I can afford, but वो नहीं मिलती है, and I buy some other car, and whatever my primary object of desire I didn't get, I get something else. So how much is it that it's a desire, and now it's like an ego thing कि भाई मुझे जो चाहिए था वो I want it, कि जिद है कि I just want that thing. So
Yeah.
I feel like maybe we should draw a line, or there should be a line between desiring something and now when you have set your target or goal that I want this, and you get an alternate thing which is maybe as good as the original thing, but you still want the first thing. So maybe at that point, quality wise आपको similar मिल रहा है, but you still want the first object. So now maybe your ego is talking कि भाई तुमने तो goal set किया था and you didn't get that, you got something else, I want that. So maybe we should try to word it in a particular way where we differentiate desire and ego. Ki ego is, I feel like that is ego when you're saying ki I want the initial object that I had in mind, and if I don't get it, so somehow ki main kam ho jaunga, because so yeah, maybe we can try to explore that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us first start from the purpose of desire. Since desire is there in manifestation, creation, desire exists. All of us go through desire. There must be some purpose to desire. Now what happens? Imagine that I'm sitting on my bed and I'm very lethargic, very, very lazy, full of inertia. Nothing in me wants to move. Suddenly, I have a desire. Now this desire can be of a cup of tea. This desire can be to have a companion. This desire can be to have a good job, earn good money. Yeah. So what really happens? Why do we have desires? Let us understand this, because then only we can talk about letting go from the grip of the desires if we want to. Yeah. The purpose of desire is to break the inertia in which we settle again and again as human beings. Inertia is a part of existence. That's what we call comfort zone. You know, कि बस मेरे को ठीक तो लग रहा है, मैं क्यों मूव हो जाऊं? अरे सब कुछ ठीक तो है, क्यों आगे बढ़ना है? You know? So from time to time, we settle down in these comfort zones. We don't realize it really. You're not doing it knowingly, but it happens. It is the quality of having a physical human birth. That inertia is there. No, आपने देखा होगा कि बैठ जाते हैं बहुत देर तक, तो कभी कभी मन करता है हिलो ही मत, बैठे ही रहो. You know, many a times owing to inertia. You know, there is this tamas, what we call in Hindi. So the purpose of desire, why does desire exist? So that I can move from inertia, so that I can move my ass. एक सामने से मेरे कोई सुंदर सा इंसान गया, you know, and I was very comfortable in my life, but something in that guy or girl attracts me. I get desirous, you know, and I move. I begin to put effort to woo the person or to make the person come to me, talk to me. So a desire comes and moves me from the settled zone that I am in. Now, why is it necessary, that movement? Because we are here for progress. हम यहाँ पे time pass करने के लिए नहीं है as human beings. We are here to evolve in our consciousness. We are here to become a better and better and better version of myself. Now, from time to time, I get settled in my comfort zone. So something or the other comes which invokes in me that, wow, this is something beautiful. I would like to have it. You know, we all get attracted to beauty and, you know, strength and courage or whatever. So I move, I make effort. Now that's another thing, that in making effort, where do I begin to operate from? I begin to operate from a sense of lack. कि मुझ में कुछ कम है, अगर मुझे वो मिल गया, I think Abhishek was talking about it, अगर मुझे वो मिल गया तो मुझ में कुछ बढ़ जाएगा. I will become more. Yeah. Now we all want to become more, and there is a truth, I believe, behind it. And the truth is that we all want to grow in our consciousness, but we have no clue how to become more. So what I do is, I have more bags, I have more shoes, I have more cars. All I want is more. Now, why is this happening? Because we are living in ignorance, we are living in darkness. Our mind has a very, very limited point of view. We don't even know the larger picture, as Mohita was sharing. We don't know the larger picture. So what I do is, मेरे को अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग से जितना समझ में आता है, मैं सोचती हूँ अच्छा एक कार थी, चलो 2 ले लेते हैं, कुछ तो बढ़ेगा. So all of us want to progress, all of us want to grow, but we don't know in our ignorance what is the right way for us to grow. So we accumulate more friends, more money, you know, more maybe girlfriends, more job experience, all that I am craving, more degrees. If I'm an author, maybe let me write more books, more fame, more respect. So why is this happening? Let us go to the root, because all I want is to widen, is to expand, but I don't know how should I do that. All I see around me is consumerism. Abhishek was touching upon it, that, you know, we see this social media advertising and all, and it makes you feel, if you get that, then something beautiful will happen. So I also become desirous of that. New shoes, you know, maybe shoes made of recycled material, something in vogue, in fashion. that makes me something more than I am. Yeah. So can I understand that all that I'm craving for, all that my deepest need is, first of all, fulfillment, and secondly, becoming more and more and more. And now, can I also realize the futility of consuming more? Can I also realize that although I am consuming more, cars bhi zyada ho gayi, experience bhi zyada ho gaya, paisa bhi zyada ho gaya, but sala ye lack nahi jata. The sense of lack never goes away, it stays. So what do I really want? I don't even know now. Now I begin to doubt it. Did I really wanted those cars? Did I really want those friends? Because even after them, I feel incomplete. Even after that, I feel so limited. So, it's nice to understand this, that the purpose of desire is to move me. It has a beautiful purpose. Mother and Sri Aurobindo say, desire is the helper, desire is the bar. It would not let you go far. It will make you in goal and goal, trapped again and again. It will make you a puppet of itself. So the purpose of desire is to make me move from inertia. Now, the moment I have moved, it has done its job, and it was necessary. The job was necessary. So desires are not really bad. They have a purpose. Like a ladder is needed to get to the terrace. And once you have gotten to the terrace, you leave the ladder. You don't carry the ladder above. Otherwise, it becomes a burden. Yeah. So all you wanted is to use the ladder to reach the terrace. Now you are moved. Okay. Now keep on moving. But what happens with us is that we settle down again and again. We again and again have a tendency to settle down in our mental ideas, settle down in our opinions, settle down in our thought patterns, emotional patterns, and also in physical life. We settle down. Ki mera to ho gaya, I am a mother now, and that is what I am going to remain for a whole of life. So we settle down. So some or the other experience happens in my life which makes me move. It can be a tragedy, it can be a challenge, it can be a desire. It can be a rejection that I face from my family. Something or the other happens which moves me, so that I go beyond my comfort zones. और ये क्यों मूवमेंट क्यों जरूरी है? हम मूवमेंट की बात ही क्यों करें? मूवमेंट इसलिए जरूरी है because we are here in this existence to move from the desire soul to the true individuality, to who we truly are. This is the movement that we have to make. Desire makes me motivate, it motivates me. अगर मुझे किसी से प्यार हो गया, so called romantic love, it motivates me. मैं सुबह उठती नहीं हूँ वैसे, लेकिन मैं 6 बजे उठ के जाऊंगी, कि अरे मिलना है, बंदे से मिलना है, बंदी से मिलना है, जिससे भी मिलना है ना? So it is making me move. It is making me break my comfort zones. That is the purpose. But we cannot remain stuck at that level throughout our life. It makes us suffer. है ना? So I don't know how many of you have suffered through desires. I have suffered. And I know that if we cling to those desires, once they have fulfilled their job, they make us suffer. Now, when they are making me suffer, it is just a signal from them कि भैया मेरा काम हो गया, आप मेरे को छोड़ दे, leave me. It's actually wanting that do not follow my dictates. मेरा काम हो चुका है आपकी लाइफ में. And that's why it continues to give suffering, because I'm not ready to let go. Zid की कोई बात कर रहा था, Abhishek was talking about zid. So हम जिद पकड़ के बैठ जाते हैं कि मेरी लाइफ में अगर फुलफिलमेंट मिलेगी, बस यही तरीके से मिलेगी, मैं तो पीछे पड़ जाऊं इसके. पढ़ो पीछे, करो सफर. So all that we have to recognize is that this zid, उसको थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स कर दें कि it's okay. I can go ahead in my life and choose a path which is beneficial for me, even without being so stubborn about the way happiness should come to me. I think Aadhar was saying that why do we become desirous? Because we give importance to it. I think very important line, that वो चीज हमारे लिए इतनी important हो जाती है कि अगर ये नहीं मिला तो मेरी जिंदगी बेकार. अगर अगर अच्छी नौकरी नहीं मिली तो मैं खत्म. अच्छा, अगर रेस्पेक्ट नहीं मिली, फेम नहीं मिली, लोगों ने अप्रूव नहीं किया, आई एम नथिंग. So I think this zid, this stubbornness has to be let go of, that even when I do not get things, experiences, situations according to my own little mind, I am okay. There's nothing that is less in me, and there is nothing that can get added when I fulfill that desire. But I think easier said than done. We all have to go through our desires, many desires, so as to recognize that when to follow them, when not to follow them. So there's no one clear cut formula one can give here. It's very important, I believe, to go through all these desires and face the consequences also. Yeah, followed in extreme, yes, lead to suffering. And suffering is a signal, है ना. अब जैसे imagine करो कि मैं walk कर रही हूँ and मेरा पैर नाली में चला गया, फंस गया, ठीक है. A signal that I was not conscious enough, a signal that this is not the right way. So can I take the suffering? This is again a point, that can I take the suffering that comes from desires as a signal that I need not stick here, as a signal that I don't need to torture myself?
One way I would rephrase it is, you can consider suffering as a signal that you have chased your desire too far, and maybe you can calibrate it and lessen it down. Like, for example, one example comes as if you're trying to be healthy and you're walking, but ab abhi 10 kilometer chal gaye ho and your legs are paining. Maybe you have pushed yourself enough. Maybe just walk 8 kilometers or 5 kilometers, try again tomorrow. So maybe that's what I say. Suffering can be an indication of tone your desires down a little. You've done enough for today.
Yeah. And you were talking about, desire versus ego. Actually, we cannot place desire and ego in two parties. It's one party. It's the ego which is full of desires. And when I say that we have to make the movement from the desire soul to the true soul, true individuality, this is what I mean, that we have to grow out of the ego consciousness. Ego consciousness is a limited consciousness. And what do we mean by ego? Whenever I'm trapped about in images about myself and the world, my opinions, my images in the mind, I know the best. I am the victim. So all the images that I have in my mind about the world and about myself, that form a part of my ego consciousness. It's a limited point of view, very limited. No matter how wide I may be, but still it would remain limited. But when we make effort, we begin to notice our limitations, that, oh, I used to think that way, but I think I don't need to stick to that limited way of understanding. There may be something more, maybe something more. So desires and ego, they are one party. Ego is full of a sense of lack and incompletion. I am something less, or many a times I am something really special, more. So this constant preoccupation about oneself, and also this sense of lack that we live with, is ego consciousness in one kind of way to say it. And then what I do to fulfill the sense of lack, I desire, and through that desire, I want to fulfill that lack, which never gets fulfilled. As we were talking, I think Zainab was sharing and Mohita was sharing about it, that it's like one after the another, and one never gets really contented following the desires. Yeah. Abhishek, yeah, please.
Yeah, Monica. So I would disagree on that point where we are saying desire and ego is similar. I'll try to say from which point of view I'm saying. So for example, your thing that you said earlier, we are lying on the couch and suppose a big desire aa gaya ki chai chahiye ya coffee, right? In that case, I don't think it has anything to do with ego. In fact, it would be healthy for you to get out of your couch and try to get something healthy or drink. Maybe you're thirsty, right? Or maybe I want food. So I don't think it's ego necessary. It's survival, you could say. And survival is good. And putting it, because ego has obviously a very bad connotation to it. We always try to steer away from this word. When people say you have a lot of ego, that's considered a bad thing. No one sees ego as self-preservation, which ego is. It tries to keep you alive in some context. So I would not agree to the point where desire in its initial stages, where you have not reached the extreme yet and you're just beginning to go it. I don't think it's egotistical. In fact,
Yeah.
it's better in the initial stages. Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree with you that so see, getting up and getting a cup of tea, one can name it a harmless desire. It's not going to kill you.
Well,
But
there are several desires that we have for growth, right? Since
yes. And if I go and take maybe raw material or groceries from a shop, if I go and get it, that's something which is, as you were saying, it's important for survival. And ego, again, as we talk about desire is the helper, desire is the bar. Ego has to be first developed, and then later on we can talk about dissolution of the ego. So ego is also something, a formation of nature which is necessary for survival. So I absolutely resonate with what you are sharing.
yeah. One more point I
Yes.
would just like to share my point of view is one point which we were discussing, that desires don't feel you. And I actually have my particular view on it. Is, for example, let's say I'm desiring a particular car right now, some expensive car, and I get it. And it, in my opinion, it doesn't feel that fulfilling. What I think is really happening is, when you get the car, you do get a sense of happiness, or you do feel good, but it's not as good as you thought it would be. So for example, let's say someone has a thing for buying expensive shoes, bags, watches. There's a reason why they do that, because every time you get an expensive watch or a bag, maybe your friends say something nice, you get a compliment and you feel good, but it stays for such a short term, and you feel like it's not worth the cost. And then to get the compliment another time from that person, because there's no way a person would compliment your thing twice, right? You would have to get another. So you're kind of chasing a high because it fades slowly. So you do get that fulfillment, but it's like as soon as that bar of fulfillment fills, it tries its best, or it keeps coming down to zero as fast as possible. So we keep trying to add items to keep that fulfillment bar at the max, is what I think. Is it does fulfill you, but not as much as you thought it would, which is why there is that cycle of wanting to keep more and wanting to chase your desires. Because if they had zero fulfillment, and if you are smart enough, you would immediately realize कि भाई इससे तो काम नहीं चल रहा है, what are people talking about, it makes no sense. But there has to be some logic or some sense to it, which has led people all across the world and generation and time to keep chasing their desires. It can't be no fulfillment, maybe not a permanent fulfillment, but a temporary one.
Yes,
Yeah.
Adhar, you want to share?
So we're talking about desire, the purpose of desire. So kind of, and what Abhishek was saying, the desire for survival, and so I would say that we have a desire of purpose of desire. For ego is the desire of purpose, right? We search for a purpose, a meaning. Obviously, like you said, what's your name, by the way?
Her name is Monica.
Monica. Okay. So like you said, Monica, we want, we are always wanting for expansion, right? And we are always wanting more and to be more, right? But we don't know. I'm just kind of reiterating what you said. We kind of get this thought in our mind that, okay, we want to be more. Maybe can be rich or famous or knowledgeable or have more possessions or loved by people or whatever, right? We kind of orient our efforts in that direction. But when we get there, to some extent, obviously we cannot always be perfectly rich or perfectly knowledgeable, right? When we get to some extent where we think, okay, this is enough, we find out that it's not enough, right? So we cannot really find perfect fulfillment of our desires as long as we are thinking materialistically, right? So and that is all because we don't really know how to expand so that we keep expanding, right? So and that is when we kind of try to find out ways, and I think this goes for everyone. It just is a matter of time when we try to find out ways when we how to do that. Call it spirituality or whatever.
Yeah, very crucial points. Yes, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, Monica. Sorry. Just want to get one point in is I often feel like people, the word desire is obviously seen, if we are being honest, as a bad thing. No one says it as healthy or not healthy and extreme. Ye cheeze, to we don't have, we don't talk about it in general context. As soon as someone says desire, it's you. We imagine the worst possible thing. What I think is one behavior that most people do is we do chase desires, and once we get that desire, we judge that desire very harshly. For example, if there is a desire that I want to get a good job or this car, we do this thing once that we travel to that place and we get that desire, we achieve that car, we get that job, and then we retrospectively पीछे देखते हैं कहते हैं भाई ये तो कुछ भी नहीं था, लोग फालतू पे इसका हवा बना रहे थे. But the thing is, you did take the path to investigate what this thing is that people are telling you that you should achieve, right? And now that you have gotten it, people harshly, and what I hope is we can do is look at this sympathetically, is कि people show lack of sympathy and कहते हैं कि यार ये desire तो कुछ भी नहीं था, लोग ऐसे ही कह रहे थे. And then people who are younger than them or not as or have not achieved that desire, we tend to demonize them or look down on them. और हम कहते कि यार अभी भी तू यही चीज कर रहा है, when we don't realize the fact that desires help you to grow forward in life. It gave you a stepping stone. For example, getting a job, at least for a lot of people, especially guys, is very important. It's a defining moment in life when you're financially independent. So when you get it, obviously the job may kuch aisa, it's not going to blow your mind. It's you go there and you work. Something exciting is not going to happen. Maybe if you like your job, it might be, but that doesn't mean that now you're going to see people who don't have a job ki bhai job mat kar, it's not going to give you the fulfillment. Well, no one said it would, but it did give you as an individual a stepping stone in life that now you're financially independent. So there's no point in demonizing it, and people show lack of sympathy towards others who are earlier in their journey of finding their desires or growth. And I find that this is a bit harsh, and I hope we can have some sympathy for people who are chasing that desire, because it's actually a sad thing where they think that they lack something right now. So you have gotten your desire.
Abhishek, absolutely,
Yeah, sorry.
absolutely
Yeah,
with
sorry.
you. Absolutely with you, but I think how do we care of what people think about other people having desires? I mean, I totally agree. The thing that you are saying, that
What
desire
I was
making
hoping
us,
was we could share reflections on what do we say this behavior is, or what do you think of this thing that we do? That's what I want.
Actually, पता है क्या है? I somehow have a tendency that I keep on coming back to my own self, rather than going to people, what people must be doing or must not be doing. I think it's very, very beneficial to come back to my own self, my desires, my life, and although it may seem as self-obsessed, but I think it's absolutely harmless to look at life through how you are living it, है ना? तो मुझे लगता है, first of all, I agree with what you are saying, that desires have a purpose, they make us grow, and it's important to chase desires before you want to renounce them, or whatever, want to be desireless, or whatever your path may be. Absolutely agree with that. And there is no other I think there is no other option that we have as human beings. we will go through desires and we will grow through them as well. So they're right there standing with you. And also what other people think about people who are chasing, but I think we can just let that be for a while, because I want to share something here, which is almost the crux of the matter, because we have been talking of fulfillment, है ना? Fulfillment की बात हो रही है कि अच्छा ये job हो जाएगी तो तुम्हें fulfillment मिल जाएगी. So let us see, and also the other point that you were sharing, that if I get a job, although fulfillment is temporary, but I do get fulfilled. I want to focus on that because there is something, I think that there is something there. Now imagine that there is a sky. This is an example I use from a teacher called Rupert Spira. Imagine that there is vast blue sky, and we know that the blue skies always remain. It's only that the clouds come and mask the blue sky, right? So the sky is forever there, but when monsoon clouds are there, or dark clouds or white clouds, whatever are there, it masks the sky. So we think that, oh my God, where is the sky gone? It's not there. But where are the clouds? Clouds in floating in the sky. So can we use desires, especially of kinds which torture us, not of the harmless material desires, wanting a tea or cup of coffee, not talking about them, talking about desires which overpower us, which cloud our mental reasoning and abilities of intelligence. Now imagine those desires as the sky which is masked with these clouds of desires. Okay? Now I want something aggressively. I put effort into it. The moment I get that thing, suddenly in that one moment when I have achieved what I've been wanting to achieve, suddenly the clouds disperse. There is no more desire in that one moment when I have gotten the thing. Just give yourself an openness to understand this example. Now in that one moment, the dark clouds are absent. I feel fulfilled. I feel content. I feel happy for a moment. It's a fleeting moment, but I feel happy. Now we think that the happiness is coming from achieving that thing, but it may be a possibility that I'm sharing here, that the happiness or the joy or the fulfillment is my true nature in the form of sky. It is ever present, but when I am clouded with desires, I am not able to see it. So in that one moment, when I get the thing that I was desiring for, suddenly the clouds disperse, and what I feel in the body, in the being, fulfillment, a sense of like I'm content now, even fleeting, that is nothing but the unmasking of my own true nature, which is the nature of contentment. Now what happens? Suddenly, in few moments, in few days, another desire appears. So that contentment does not last long. The sky is clouded again. So I want us, it's a different, I would say it's a different kind of a opening that I see here, which we can reflect upon this when you go home, when you are in your own silences, that can I just work from that sense of contentment and fulfillment and inner joy, rather than getting motivated by false goals and false ideals, which Abhishek was in the beginning sharing, that people show me something, social media conditioning, and it makes me desire that thing. So instead of that false running, although that also serves a purpose, such is the beauty of existence, so nothing goes vain. Even running after those false goals serves some purpose. I grow through that, through my own failures and mistakes. I grow. Everything is for a purpose. So I am saying that, is that possible that instead of trying to fulfill me all the time and having the dark clouds of desire all the time hanging on my head, can I work from a space of a sense of contentment, knowing what is the best possible way for me to live? Where do I grow? Where do I really progress from within? What brings me this joy of progress, giving myself challenges, nurturing my abilities. No, so can we? I'm just sharing a possibility. Can we move, those of us who are ready, can we move from getting motivated by false desires, extreme ones especially, and rather than focusing on this blue sky, which is my nature, which is my true nature, and where I don't feel the need of having the dark clouds again and again. They may appear, they will appear. It's my journey. I will have to go through challenges again and again. But can I knowingly not add on this burden to me? Knowing that all I am seeking is fulfillment, and fulfillment is my true nature. But when desire is there, it makes me feel incomplete. And hence those dark clouds obscure the blue sky of fulfillment and contentment that is ever present. It is never gone from me because it's my essential nature. So can I shift the focus of motivation, that I am motivated because I want to progress and nurture my life, not because somebody said something and now I want that. So again, I'm just sharing this as a possibility. We will have to go through all experiences, and all experiences have their purpose in our life if we take it in that way. So just wanted to put this reflection in front of you, that is it the desire that brought me fulfillment, or is it the disappearance of the desire in that one moment when I got that thing, whatever that thing was, and my true being is shining, which is full of inner joy and contentment. Because why I am sharing this, because the same thing that brings me so much joy right now, imagine karo ki aap kisi se bahut romantically you are in love, theek hai, you want that person, you want that person, you want that person, now you got that person. Okay, for a moment you are content, fulfilled, the dark cloud is gone. Very soon more expectations come, more desires come. ये मेरे को ऐसे क्यों नहीं रखता, ये मेरे को वैसे क्यों नहीं, why doesn't he behave in this way, why doesn't he behave in that way? So all that dark clouds appear again. Now the thing that you wanted, the person is right here in front of you, but you are not content. So was that the person that brought you contentment, or was that the disappearance of dark clouds of desire that brought you contentment? This is what I wanted to kind of, for us to reflect upon later. We can reflect later also in your quiet time. Just wanted to leave you with this possibility. And
Ma'am,
yes, please.
Ma'am, I think this lack of awareness, what should be and what not should be. As you said now, the person is in front of you, but still you're thinking somewhere else. Maybe it occurs due to the conflict occurs between our inner halves. We have two halves, two inner halves that never mix or agree with each other. The two different halves that always repel and rebel. Whatever name we give it to that, like mind versus heart, angel versus demon, the mortal body versus immortal soul, that inner two different voices are always in conflict. The one half says you're everything. The other half says you're nothing. You will ultimately go to the soil, into mud, you're just dust. But the other halves never agree with that. The one half says, let's forgive this person. Whatever bad this person has done to me, I have a big heart. Yes, dear, you have a big heart. Forgive that. Forgive that person. Forgive everything what he has done. You should love them with pity and sorrow for their bad doings. The other half says, no, never. That person becomes even more poisonous. That person don't deserve your kindness, your calmness, your kindness. That person don't deserve. They will humiliate you later. They will become even more stronger. They think your forgiveness is that weakness. So it is because of that two conflicts occur between the two halves. And not sure whether either of these is a complete lie, but there is some sort of truth behind both the halves. Now it depends which part dominates in a person and what are the factors that contributes to this domination. Factors like our experiences, our emotional control, awareness, ignorance, and environment in which we brought up in, religion, region, gender, and people that are surrounded by, we are around them, and our genes, and also our food. We are what we eat, as we say, and our lifestyle. So yeah, so in some person it is easy that one half that angel or heart or the immortal soul that motivates the person. In other person may become more rebellious after experiencing a lot more difficulties, hate from other people. That person may become very even more rebellious. But the same person, the other person who has faced the same bad experiences, but still that person will be very calm, kind, even more aware. So yeah.
Yeah, beautiful reflections, Zena. Now, what you're talking of that is the function of when Mother and Sri Aurobindo talk about all life is yoga. The yoga means union. And you said it beautifully that we are full of contradictions, as if there is a fight going on in between. And this is the task of human birth. Can we accomplish this union? The union of mind and heart, the union of immortal and mortal. Can we accomplish this union? And it's as you said, I think it's for not any single person, this is an easy task. And the more you go deeper into it, the more you realize, oh my god, there's so much to be done, there's so much to be unified within myself. तो ऊपर ऊपर से लगता है इट्स अरे योगा ही तो है, यूनियन ही तो करना है माइंड और हार्ट का. But when you go deeper into it, especially when we talk about Mother and Sri Aurobindo, if you go deeper into our own bits and pieces, you see that, oh my god, this is the journey of a lifetime, this union or yoga that we talk about. Yeah, so I think very relevant, the mind and the heart aspect that you were talking of. And this is what every experience that we go through, even an experience of desire, can I make use of that experience so that I become more unified in my being? What you were sharing, more unified, more one and harmonious in my being. And easier said than done. It's not an easy process. It takes a very long determination, very long perseverance, if we want to really have harmony in our being, where the mind is not saying something else, emotions are not pulling you apart, the body doesn't want something else. As if right now everything is pulled apart, the thoughts take you somewhere else, emotions want something else, and the body wants something else. है ना? So this is actually the I would say the purpose of human existence, to unify our being, to make everything into a beautiful harmony. कि mind की अपनी place है, वो वहां settled है, heart का अपना place है, emotions का अपना place है, and the body has its own territory. So nobody is kind of interfering here and there. है ना? क्योंकि हम देखते हैं कि बहुत बार इमोशंस हमारी बॉडी में इंटरफेयर करते हैं कि ये वाला ज्यादा खा लिया, बहुत ज्यादा खा लेते हैं, ओवर ईटिंग कर लेते हैं, तो क्यों, अरे अच्छे पेट तो भर गया लेकिन जीभ नहीं भरी, मन नहीं भरा. सो इमोशंस जो है वो बॉडी को टॉर्चर करने लग जाते हैं. सो राइट नाउ इट्स ऑल अ मिक्स ऑफ थिंग्स, अ काइंड ऑफ अ मेस विद इन अस. कैन वी यूज एवरी एक्सपीरियंस सो दैट वी यूनिफाई अवरसेल्व्स मोर एंड मोर? है ना? दैट वुड बी अ ब्यूटिफुल kind of use of human birth. Yeah, Priyanka, you wanted to share something?
Hi, Monica.
Yeah, hi Priyanka. Yes, please.
Hi. No, I think I just raised my hand by mistake.
Okay, if anything there is that you want to share, please come on.
Ma'am, also I like to, point out one thing. Um, am I audible?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. Ma'am, I agree with you that, as you said, desire and ego is one. I agree with you, and I disagree with Abhishek. Because desire could be anything. It depends on desire. Our desire could be, to humiliate other person, to take revenge from that person. That could be our desire. I have to make that person look down, to humiliate them, to show their, to lower that person. That could be even desire. So does not your ego plays role there? It's your ego. And also, okay, if you have a good desire to, for example, to have BMW, that is not a bad desire, that is not harming other person. Fine, that is a good desire. But when you become very stubborn to get that, the paths you choose to acquire money to get that, does not your ego place there? So ego and desire is one. एंड ना हम इतना वो जिद्दी बन जाते हैं, चाहिए ही चाहिए।
Yeah.
जिद, वो
Yeah.
जो जिद होती है वो ईगो ही होता है। एंड या ईगो एंड डिजायर इज वन।
एक्चुअली पता क्या होता है कि देखो, अगर मैं चाय के लिए उठी, वेरी हार्मलेस डिजायर, चाय पीनी है, ठीक है, और वो मुझे नहीं मिली, और if I begin to kill myself, kill in the sense I become very very disappointed and mood खराब कर लिया, I think that's where the complication lies, है ना? Otherwise, if I go and want to get a cup of tea or even BMW that you are talking of, and I don't get it, I don't torture myself for that. Okay, maybe something else, So I think the point that leads to suffering, I think Abhishek was sharing in the beginning, he is also shared in the chat window, that it's only when followed in extreme कि आपने अपनी existence को उसके ऊपर dependent कर दिया, कि मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं, मेरी fulfillment ही नहीं होगी जब तक ये मेरी बात नहीं, जो आप जिद की बात कर रहे हो आप लोग ना, I think that's where we need to maybe keep a check if required. Mother calls this vigilance, being vigilant of whatever is creating disturbance in my being, because it creates a lot of disturbance. And yogically, if you see, they say that the vibration of desire for lust, desire for ambition, desire for, all this big desires which disturb us, the vibration of desire, the energy of desire is equivalent to the energy of anger. तो अगर आपके बॉडी का कोई स्कैन करे और एक बंदा है जो आग बबूला हो रहा है डिजायर में और एक हो रहा है आग बबूला एंगर में, it's equivalent energy. So do I want to be there? Now anger also has a purpose. I'm not saying nothing, we are not bad mouthing anything here, we are just reflecting. Anger also has a purpose, desire also definitely has a purpose, but to burn ourselves, to get overpowered and clouded by both of them, there I lose my sense of mastery over myself. And we, all of us, want to be master of our being. All of us want to be in control of our life, at least of our inner movements. And when anger or desire is playing in full throttle, then we know that we are just puppets, we are swayed. So that's, I think, something which we need to be vigilant of, only if we want to. Nobody is forcing me, but we are just reflecting that those of us who are ready now, can we make a shift in the way we look at desires, or maybe not requiring desire to move me. I am moved by a determination to live a beautiful and a healthy life, rather than having desire or trying to make me move from inertia. So Aadhar, you wanted to share something. I have seen that you unmuted. If you want to share.
Conversation in a different way. I wanted to share that. But anyway, so I read this, maybe I heard it, this quote that nature has done a beautiful job evolving us to this point. Now it's our task to evolve further. I see it like this. The biggest difference, or the only difference probably between animals and humans, is that animals are aware. They do their whatever they want to do according to their tendencies and all that, their programming. But humans are aware that they are aware. So like then I was saying that it's two halves, right? So I see it like this, that one half is the animal part of us, which is like all the tendencies within us, right? So the animal part of us is always only concerned about survival, whether it's about eating or sleeping or moving our lineage forward or whatever. It's only concerned about our survival and the survival of our species. That's all. And the human part of us is something that wants more than survival, and that kind of is the struggle between us always, because that animal part is very strong. If we are not aware, not, I won't say not aware, but not conscious or mindful enough, that animal part is very strong, eating and wanting more, and being powerful in some way. That is very strong. And yeah, so moving ahead of that is something that we all strive for, right?
Beautiful, beautiful. What you were sharing reminded me of something which I had read from the mother on why human birth is so special. What is so special about it? Let me just read a few lines. I think there's really beautiful lines and would go almost in alignment with what you were just sharing. So mother is sharing that the animal is born and makes good use of what it has, and it grows according to its own law, but it does not educate himself, or does it in a very rudimentary way. Whereas by a normal and systematic development, man can remedy his defects and shortcomings. This is the power only man has. I think you were talking about this capacity of being human, right? So man can remedy his defects and shortcomings. This is not a power granted to an animal. Man is certainly, in an organized way, the first progressive animal who can augment his capacities, his possibilities, increase his faculties, and acquire things that he did not have spontaneously. There is not one animal which can do that. Yeah, so mother shares that this capacity to self-exceed, कि जो मैं अभी हूं, अच्छा मैं होगा अभी गंदा, अभी बहुत अगली हूं, बहुत सारी वीकनेसेस हैं, लेकिन जो मैं हो सकता हूं, वो चीज है जो हमको आगे बुलाती है, which makes us move forward. कि मैं अभी पूरी तरह से गंदगी से भरी हुई हूँ, राइट? बट यहां मैं होना नहीं चाहती, मैं आगे बढ़ना चाहती हूँ इस गंदगी से. This capacity is only there with the human being. I think that is the beauty which makes us go forward and forward and forward. So a dog will forever remain a dog. A horse will forever remain a horse. But human being can actually become a divine being. Slowly purifying ourselves through all these experiences that we are sharing today, and furthermore, can I use every experience as a step to purify myself further and to move into more purity, more light, more wideness, more expansion, as we were talking of, है ना? तो ये कैपेसिटी का हमने इस्तेमाल करना है, क्योंकि गंदे तो सब हैं, किसको नहीं पता अपनी गंदगी के बारे में, है ना? We are full of impurities, but that is not my highest possibility. I can move forward, I can march forward. So I think just wanted to share that on what you just shared, Athar. Yeah. Yes, Priyanka.
Monica, this was a beautiful comparison, that you gave for animal and humans. But I have also observed that, sometimes I feel that ignorance is bliss. For example, I meet people, like I'm just saying a particular place, like for example, when I go to my hometown, and if I go to the friend circle or colleagues or urban people, people don't the people who are in the rural part or who are not so exposed, they don't have that exposure yet, they have no desire, they are so content. And look at us, बढ़ता ही जा रहा है, बढ़ता ही जा रहा है, इतना पेन, इतनी सफरिंग, इतना this whole competition, this that exposure brings to us. So I sometimes feel, is it wrong, is it right, but not able to judge.
Yeah.
Is it right to have this kind of exposure,
Yeah.
or is it okay that ठीक है, पता ही नहीं है तो कोई desire ही नहीं है, और desire नहीं है तो कोई competition नहीं है, कोई suffering नहीं है, कुछ achieve करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. So maybe you can expand a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think first of all, a beautiful observation. And mother says that people who live more in body consciousness, है ना, जो जैसे छोटे बच्चे होते हैं, very little children, they are totally in their body consciousness, है ना, that's why they want to run and jump and do all kind of, so they are also innocent and pure. We see the light shining from those little children. Why? Because their psychic being or the soul is forward, it's right in front, because the psychic has a very strong connection with the body consciousness. तो जो लोग बॉडी ओरिएंटेड होते हैं, जैसे आप देखो ना लेबर वर्कर्स, जैसे आप विलेजेस की बात कर रहे हैं, आज सुबह खेत में काम करना, ये although it seems very mechanical, but they are actually living in their soul consciousness, and that's their purpose, because every soul has a different purpose. तो मेरा पर्पस उससे सब हो रहा है कि मैं सुबह खेती कर रही हूँ और रात को ये whatever काम मैं कर रही हूँ, but there is a contentment, fulfillment, as you were sharing, there is a contentment there. Why? Because the soul consciousness is a contentment, is a place of contentment. Whenever we have little glimpses of contentment, that is where the soul consciousness is coming forward. We all have tasted those moments, maybe looking at a sunset, looking at a beautiful thing, some touching some joy in oneself, maybe आपने कुछ दिया किसी को, donate किया, whatever, So we keep on touching these glimpses, right? And mother says that if you glimpse it even once, that contentment and beauty within you, you should relive that beauty again and again in your life, because that is what is real. है ना? तो what you were sharing is, I would agree, है ना, कि जो body consciousness में रहते हैं, जैसे कि बच्चे या tribal people, they are much more connected than with their soul or true individuality, rather than those of us who live mostly in the mental plane. It makes us disconnect from the soul consciousness or the knowing within. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyone else who has not shared so far or would like to share, anyone, even if you have shared earlier, doesn't matter. Ashpriya, if you have anything to share, Snehi has not shared so far. Anusha, if there is anything coming from you or the rest of us. And I would actually, it's something personally selfish that I want you to maybe delve in, delve into words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. All of you, I think can now possibly delve deeply into the words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, because I think there is something so beautiful in these words, which just makes us go forward and forward and forward. There's so much to be done in this human life. Why to waste time at all? So I just kind of read something. तो कोई मदर से पूछ रहा है, just last thing I want to read, and maybe after that we can take up reflection and close. Somebody is asking mother, why is this soul consciousness or the psychic being so hidden? That's what, why do we have to look for it? Okay, Ashpriya. Yeah, okay, understand. So somebody is asking, why is it so hidden? इतना छुपा के रखने की क्या जरूरत है? So mother is answering, perhaps simply because one does not give it enough attention. So she says that it seems to be hidden because you don't give it attention. You have so many other important things to give attention to. Perhaps simply because one does not give it enough attention. If one took the trouble to open the doors, perhaps one would find it. It is obviously a gentleman who does not like ostentation or does not force itself on your attention. So mother is talking about the inner presence, inner divine presence, that this divine presence does not force itself upon you. कि मेरे को देखो, मैं भी बैठा हूं. So this force is not there. Perhaps it is a gentleman who does not force itself on your attention, but perhaps it is waiting for you to go in search of it. Perhaps it is sitting very quietly at the very back of the house. And mother says the seat of the psychic is the depths of your center of the chest. So if you horizontally travel back into the depths of your heart, focus your concentration there. That would be mother's suggestion. Perhaps it is sitting very quietly at the very back of the house, and you must open the door one after another. And then she shares, I don't find that it is hidden. I find it visible everywhere, all the time, at every moment in all things. Shall we look? Shall we go and look? And then she closes her talk. So I think it is really worth giving ourselves to finding and uniting with this beautiful inner presence. I think that's the best gift that we can give to maybe our family, our parents, our own self, and the whole society. That's the best gift that one can give. Flowering of our own divine presence. And not saying that, yeah, मेरा तो हो गया, because हमारा बहुत लंबा चलता है, किसी का इतनी जल्दी नहीं होता. So let us become more and more open and unite if possible. Find out this divine, something beautiful in us, something divine in us, and nurture it further and further. And we all have a knowing. हमें पता लग जाता है कौन सी चीज सुंदर है, कौन सी चीज ugly है ना? So mother कहती है, recognize these ugly movements in you, recognize the beautiful movements in you, and nurture the beautiful movements. That's how you kind of go ahead. Yeah, cannot be judged if this is right or wrong. Yes, Anusha. Yeah, so if there are any last comments, I'll be happy to take them. Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless someone has to share them, I'll let them.
No, please share. Please share. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think this is a beautiful point we are on, which I think Zainab also touched upon in a word, which is self-awareness or the knowledge, where you're right. The step to not say combat, but to move ahead of desire is to be aware, to introspect, or to have knowledge about where these emotions come from. And when you know, or when you have knowledge, you can move past them. For example, one of them shared that the people in the rural areas are happier is maybe because they have not faced the challenge yet, and we have a challenge in front of us with the exposure to more people, that we have to answer these questions, right? What is the meaning of success? Why do we want to achieve certain objects, certain people? And through this knowledge of yourself and asking yourself questions, maybe those clouds which are in the sky, they move apart. And even if we take another example of when you achieve some desire and then it seems unfulfilling, is because now that you have achieved it, you have received the knowledge which you didn't have previously. So your experiences give you knowledge, and your knowledge gives you clarity, and you will keep on facing more problems. So as you go forward in life, it would be advisable to keep gaining experiences, and through those experiences, knowledge, and then moving past the desires and the obstacles that you have right now. But like we say, it doesn't come easily to everyone, being able to self-introspect, because it's a difficult thing. Once you're in that path, it gets easier, but it's not definitely is one of the hardest thing in the beginning, right? Being vulnerable and asking yourself some of the very difficult questions. So yeah, maybe we should try to help others through our stories and sharing our experiences who are caught up in the earlier phases as to how they can move on. So yeah.
Thank you, Abhishek. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Any last comments to make? Any reflections? Yes, Adhar.
So, yeah, Monica. So the one analogy that of the clouds and sky you were giving, right? And this last passage you read. So I also read this somewhere that clouds, like you said, are just the desires or something that clouds means. Clouds are vision of perception or whatever. So we have this source of life, right? The sun is the source of life in the sky. The sun is the source of life, and the clouds are formed because there is a source of life. But the clouds come in front of that, and we are not able to see it. Now, sun is not going anywhere. It's there. When we want to see it, it's there. But the clouds cloud our vision. Obviously, in this analogy, the clouds don't go unless their purpose is done. But that's the beauty of being a human being. We can, by choice, dissipate the clouds when we want and choose to see the source.
Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. If we can look at a cloud and recognize it as a cloud, I think that clarity of vision is the sunlight that you're talking of. You know, that I was able to recognize. I think you were talking about self-awareness and awareness of your movements. So if I'm able to recognize darkness as darkness, then I'm something separate from darkness already. And this capacity to look at our movements, I think this is such a beautiful gift that we have been granted with. You know, the capacity to look, there have been many interviews of people where they are totally sucked in depression and they're talking about their depression. So some part in them is still, kind of detached from that depression and able to see, yes, I'm going through depression. So this capacity to look, this clarity to look and recognize cloud as the cloud and light as light, I think this is very powerful. We must, I think, go forward following this guiding light. Great. So, yeah, in case there are no, yes, Mohita, you want to share?
And essentially, ma'am, I mean, just as we look at our thoughts as, clouds passing by the sky of our mind, do we also treat our desires just like that? Like, just observe them and just let them go and not work?
You don't have any choice, Mohita.
True.
Dekho, if there are certain desires which you are able to let go of them, good for you. But there would be certain desires which you will not be able to let go of.
Yeah.
Let us be practical. Yeah. So
Definitely.
then in that case, what do? We follow the desire. We go through the whole experience and we learn through it.
Yeah. But a friend of mine, she said a very beautiful thing. She's like, desire is almost like, it's like a barter. I mean, it gives you something, but it also takes away something from you. It's like a price that you pay for it. It's, I mean, she just put it out so beautifully that I just had to share it.
Yeah. Thanks. So anyone else? Any last comments? Gaadi chutne wali hai? No? Okay. Okay, great. So thank you everyone for reflecting, for sharing your insights, understandings and reflections on it and giving it a thought, actually, I would say. And yeah, more power to each one of you. Yes, thank you everyone. And let us just go forward and forward on our path and journeys. Yeah. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining.